How's it going, everybody? I've had a lot of requests about people wanting to know builds that don't require, you know, 3,500 perfectly rolled pieces to work in Torment 6. Mostly, a lot of people are trying to gear towards Jade Harvester, but they don't have all the pieces yet. They're missing a couple. A build that I was using before I got all my pieces was this cold build. That way, on my amulet and my bracers, my shoulders, I could be looking for stuff that would ultimately help me out with my Jade build while still allowing me to run, a higher torment level. For example, this right here works for the build, cold %, strong arm, cold %. Also, this knockback is procced. The 26 damage is procced by your Piranado. That counts as a knockback effect. If you find the shoulders, you can throw haunt damage on it. All while trying to gear up your Jade. Since this is a cold build, I have Azurath. It's not the best Azurath. It doesn't have any int on it. I found some Frostburns. They're going to make this build really excel, but you don't need them. You can see the chill effects have a 37% chance to freeze. A chill effect is going to be the Spirit Barrage and the Haunt, which are going to be your primary ways you're dealing damage. So a lot of your things are going to freeze. And then this also has a 22% chance to freeze itself. So you can tell you're gathering up a lot of freeze chance here, which is going to help you out on higher torment. Just to go over the gear real quick that I think is required. Quetzalcoatl, not required, but it is very helpful, especially stacking area damage with your dots. You spam this Haunt on everything, and all those crits, all those little ticks are going to be doing area damage. It's going to help you do some damage. Jade Harvester, it's giving you that huge intelligence bonus, which is nice, as well as this 4-set with the Royal Grandeur. That's not needed, but it's nice that I have it. It's going to give me the extra mana regen for spamming my Lumbering Cold. The Amulet, pretty standard for a cold build. On Jade Harvester endgame gear too, you're going to look for cold damage, intelligence, high crit damage, and chance. Attack speed doesn't really affect you. I told you about the proccing effect of the Piranado on the strong arm bracers, so these are pretty much best in slot. It's going to give you an extra 26% damage. Harrington, you can put anything here. This just gives me pretty much doubles my damage every time I loot a corpse or open a chest, which, if you happen to have a chest next to you when you're fighting an elite, can really make quick work of them. Standard rings, crit damage, crit chance. Sometimes you just got to get what you get. I have attack speed on this. I'd rather have crit damage. Other than that, it's pretty good. This Thing of the Deep, I took the pickup radius to help me get everything off of cooldown, because what's going to be keeping you alive is spamming this, which is going to make it so monsters aren't attacking you. And while that's off cooldown, you're going to be invisible. And in between that, hopefully you've killed enough stuff, or enough things have died around you to help keep everything off cooldown. So those are the items needed. You can use any boots. I'm using Ice Climbers just because they have bear damage, which helps in this build. It's going to be how you're killing the majority of things, is with your bears. And it also gives me some immunity to freeze, which is very nice. Going over the skills I chose. Spirit Barrage, Well of Souls. Every time you cast this, you're casting 4 bolts and an additional 3. So that's 7 bolts total that all have a chance to freeze stuff. With your Azurath and Frostburns. You have Zombie Charger, Lumbering Cold. Zombie bears crawl out of the ground and run in all directions, dealing 196 weapon damage. You're like, oh, that fucking sucks. But look at how many bears I got. Maybe 7? 6? So, you add that up, and if you stand directly on top of something, you can hit them with more than 1 bear, and that's dealing a good amount of damage. Plus, when you cast Piranado on yourself, and then start casting bears, you're hitting everything. Soul Harvest. Again, since Piranado is going to bring everything right in on you, you're going to be able to spam this a couple times, especially when you're killing stuff. It's just a little nuke, 630% weapon damage, as well as, you know, buffing your intelligence. I've already gone over how to use this. This is going to stop Anarch attacks. Anything that's rushing you will get trapped in this. So you got to use this defensively as well as offensively. You know, so if something's rushing from the top left corner of the screen, I can run down, put this down. When it comes off cooldown, I can put it down. Put it down, it'll all get trapped in there. Soul Harvest, and start spamming bears. Haunt. This is pretty key to this build. I mean, I have the Quetzalcoatl, so this deals some good damage. Plus, it's proccing area damage. This is going to return 12 mana per second. Lumbering Cold is pretty mana intensive. You can see it's bringing down my mana. I'm not going to be able to spam this forever. But if I have a group of enemies I'm casting this on, casting the Haunts, everything I hit is going to start giving me 12 mana per second. So you get it on 4 or 5 mobs, you can cast this forever. As well, this also works exactly like Well of Souls and Rush of Essence. So as you're casting your Haunt on everything that you've gathered up, you're building up that passive mana regen. You can see it's not even going down really. When you need to move, cast some Well of Souls, re-haunt stuff, Piranado it, boom, go to town. Spirit Walk, that's a staple in pretty much every build. Honored Guest is going to help you even more with the mana. Blood Ritual, reduce mana cost, as well as regeneration of, you know, life regen. People don't really look at that for Witch Doctors. We have such this awesome passive that gives us this massive amount of life regen. Right now I'm sitting at 20k a second. I remove this. Now I'm at 14k a second. So 6,000 life per second while saving myself some extra mana. It's just a good passive. You don't have to take it. You can throw on something else, but I really like it. Where is it? There you go. Going over my skills more. Graven Justice, that's going to help you. That's going to regen your mana and your life every time you kill something, as well as reducing the cooldown. And that gives you a lot of survivability in itself by reducing the cooldown on your Piranado, which is going to keep you alive, as well as your Spirit Walk, which is going to help keep you alive, all while you're spamming your bears, getting more mana for every time you kill something. Gruesome Feast, more mana, even more mana, huge intelligence bonus. You have Thing of the Deep on, you're going to pick up every globe, regen your mana, and get this massive damage boost when you start destroying all these mobs. Rush of Essence, essential for this build, because we are casting Spirit Barrage for our single targets, and we're prepping our mana regen by casting Haunt on all these mobs. Alright, so now that I told you a little bit about the build, let's go test it out here in this rift I have open here. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be trying to round up mobs while casting my Haunts for the mana regen. Spirit Walk in, nuke them. You can see on monsters with large hitboxes like those, you're going to be hit by every one of these 6-7 bears. When every one of those bears is critting, we're doing insane damage to them. This works on things with large hitboxes like Rift Guardians, bosses. As you can see, trash mobs really don't stand a chance against this. See if you can notice the critical hits on this. See how it's getting hit multiple times. So a monster on the edge here isn't going to be hit as if you were standing on top of them. I'm not using my haunt, that's why I'm running out of mana. Bring everything together, destroy it.
Not ready yet. I am hurt.
Now, I have a pretty good toughness, 8.4 mil. That's just from my resistances being pretty high. Armor's not even all that great. But the game thinks I have a good amount of toughness. If you're having problems with toughness, there's a Shira's that's going to give you 20% life. And that's going to synergize with that, with your passive Blood Ritual even more, so you're regenerating even more life per second. It'll also give you an extra 100 resistances. The Shira set's pretty good. Agiles, that's going to give you the damage reduction from elites, which is what's really going to be killing you.
Need more mana. Need more time.
Yeah, and you can't stand in a hallway full of a bunch of frozen explosions. So you can see the one I was standing on was dying real quickly. For single targets that you don't want to be standing right on, Spirit Barrage, you can kite them from, halfway across the screen. Almost like vanilla Diablo and Poison Darts. You get a chance to Spirit Walk in, come in, and nuke.
What a monstrous creature!
So you gotta remember, a lot of the ones that are gonna give you problems here is Electrified. You cannot be right on top of an Electrified guy hitting him, with 10 bears at a time. It's gonna destroy you. Fire Chains. You can't sit right in the middle of Fire Chains. It's gonna mess you up. This one, no real super dangerous affixes, so I can kind of sit in here on top of them and just unload these bears. Make sure my haunt's out. When I got some mana, nuke them up. When I'm running low, run away. Spirit Barrage. Get that passive mana regen back up. So I can come in and nuke some more. Okay.
Not ready yet.
Don't underestimate your Spirit Barrage. It does a really good amount of damage, but it's single target. Your zombie bears is going to be kind of reserved for the larger mobs. Just Milton right through them. See, now they can't attack me. If you noticed how they were just up in the air, that was an example of using this defensively. See, nothing's really attacking me. I'm just chilling. Now, if there are any mobs that like to rush you, you can cast this on top of yourself. Molten and Arcane's not really fun to deal with. You gotta play that one a little safer. But again, with the Spirit Barrage, it gives you all the ability to kite. It's kind of going to be key. If you're getting frustrated with the build because you're dying too much, you're trying to be too much of a hero. Just kite them. When you can nuke. When you have to run. look at all this damage that happens when you zone in on top of them.
Longer.
It's considerable.
Need
Try and not die here.
help. I must wait longer.
Okay, so lesson learned. For mobs that are not fun to deal with, like these guys, stay away from them. Melt them down with your spirit barrage. When you got a chance to zone in and nuke them with some bears, do it. Some mobs you just can't get on the middle of them, they just do too much damage. Especially like these Act 5 mobs.
Not ready yet. Hear me.
Channeling helps us out a little bit. Now here's the example I can show you of, you know, staying always pretty much off cooldown here. I'm always in a Spirit Walk, or they're always in a Tornado. In really high density areas, this is what you're gonna find. See, I managed to Spirit Walk out of all those molten explosions. Even better, this illusionist, my cooldowns are really coming off real quick.
Not ready yet.
Alright, here I got the Rift Guardian to spawn. This is where your Azurath and Frostburns are really going to shine through. You can't even attack me. Still Rift Guardian, so he hits like a truck. We are on T4 right now. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the build. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's definitely something that's capable in the little bit higher torment levels, and way over capable in the lower torment levels. It provides a lot of crowd control. Everything's going to be getting frozen. You have a lot of control over the combat. You can get in there and really do some damage, or you can kite around if it's something that you don't think you can take. The crowd control also benefits your group a lot. And that's a cold build that I think is pretty effective while you're trying to gear up for your Jade Harvesters. If you guys have any questions, feel free to, shoot me a message over Reddit, over in-game chat, on the forums or comment on the YouTube video below. Thanks, guys. Bye.